Well, ladies and gentlemen, well, listen, wonderful good afternoon to Talk and Sip this Saturday night. And the topic for tonight is, as you can see, it's going to be talking about a cashless society. And will that be the cashless society? Has communication gone wrong? And I want to invite those who are on TikTok as well to thank you for joining, and for those also on YouTube, and those also on Facebook, and yeah, I'm just navigating a few things here, just dealing with some good technical hiccups here at the same time, but it is looking okay. And JMH, you can hear now. Fantastic. You can hear now. Well, I'm not going to touch anything, and hopefully all being well. That's fantastic. And normally on a Saturday night, I will try to have a drink, and don't know about Leicester, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have sparkling water, and I don't know what you guys are going to be drinking. Let's say you can hear me, yeah?
Yeah, man.
What are you drinking, boss? And those on TikTok, what are you drinking? So I'm just going to have sparkling water tonight, which is really good. Yeah. And I think I got Matunda, who is going to be online as well. Matunda, from the former public defender, barrister in the UK, looking at this very key topic. One of the things about this topic here, ladies and gentlemen, is, and one of the reasons why I brought it up is, I've seen so many different discussions about cashless society, and I'm not going to play any of the clips from the Prime Minister or anyone, just to cover myself, to make sure that there's no copyright issues. I think everybody has seen them. The topic is in the topic is cashless society. That is what it is. And it seems to me that sometimes there's a communication issue. A communication issue from the government, and something I was thinking about is, when a government or even a prime minister makes some pronouncements or say some certain things, the question is, should the prime minister be defending these things off? I'm just hearing as well say, "Oh, okay, should I say that? Yeah, yes, sir, or leave it there? If he comes, he comes.
If he comes, he comes.
Okay, so won't say anything that he may come then, yeah?
Yeah. He wants to, but
Mm,
he's in immigration now, so
yes.
if it's possible, it's possible.
Okay, there's a possibility of a minister of government to come on later as well to reflect the position. Um, so the key thing is wanting to have a communication about a cashless society, hearing from persons as to what is a cashless society, what does it mean to them, do they believe that Jamaica is on towards a cashless society without cash, period? Do you believe it is without cash, period? No more cash, no more cash. Or do you think it is like cash in some aspect, and you don't have to use cash in some aspect? I know for sure that many people see me walking in the morning and in my walk and talk motivational moments, and sometimes I take people into the cafe which I go to, Mansion Bar Cafe at Beckenham Place Park, and I never walk with a wallet because they do not take cash. And also I just use my phone, the same phone that I'm doing the live on sometimes. Boom, I just ping and do the cash, not the cash, but do the transaction. And even if I'm not with any my phone, or something goes wrong, or sometimes your Apple card might go wrong or something like that. Because I know them very well, they will say, go ahead, Silburn, no problem. So even my good name, if anything, I'm not going to assume my good name somehow can even make you cashless. And I think the way the world is moving, it is very interesting that it is going a particular way. Now, during the COVID period, um, most places also were going cashless in the UK because they were saying that people were passing germs onto each other. So supermarkets and companies were going cashless as well, and was actually using the card, using the electronic system. And is it the way forward? And is it something should be embraced? But then what about the persons who do not have such a facility, if anything, if they do not have the means in a way with these digital bits? Will they be at frustrated? I use the word frustrated to actually go down there. I noticed on TikTok, someone says, I don't walk with cash here. Someone says, fear mongering to propel the agenda. The question is, what agenda? There are many. What should they say? They call it conspiracy theories. Some say it is not conspiracy theory, but it is true. Some say it is to usher in something. Some say it is ushering the 666. So many different things. But I think one of the key things to me is communication. Even with the salary bit in Jamaica, some will say it is communication. Many of the things that's being announced, is it communication or is it going against the grain of the people and just going down a particular level whereby you're not lazing with the people? I don't know. I'm just bringing this up for communication, and I'll just hear what persons say. And if anyone want to come into the show, let me know, and I'll post a link here as well. You can join in, and you have the option of showing your face, or you have the option of not showing your face as well, but we can hear you. And also, there is a telephone number which I'll put up where persons can actually just call in via a WhatsApp number. All right, Lester, what's up, boss? What's your take on this thing?
Um, good night, dear viewers.
Mm.
It's amazing that the
There's a song that says "It's amazing what praises can do." Is that what you're gonna sing? It's
no,
amazing what praises. Okay, all right, all
no,
right. Carry on.
it's amazing how I look at the comments and I see persons who I expect a higher level of reasoning from, a higher
Mm,
level of discussion from, and the narrative that they're pushing. I'm saying I don't think as adults, as educated persons, as persons who have a
mm,
little bit of experience, persons who live on the earth for a while, that the government of Jamaica and headed by the Honorable Prime Minister Andrew
mm,
Holness should be breaking things down like a little 5 year old. If you say we're now go cashless right now, right? It is something that we're moving incrementally towards
mm,
because not even the greatest empire in the world, which is the United States of America, is cashless. You know,
mm.
um, and as I said this last week, the only continent that do majority of their transaction, right, cashless, is Africa, and it is more like a cash credit basis system with them telephone and stuff like that. But we
Yeah,
don't really know where they say it. Um, for the most part, countries have, with the exception of China and Japan, them use the fiat currency, paper money. Um, but it is a safer way to transact, especially large sums of money. So instead of persons like the Chinese or business persons going to the bank on a Monday morning or a Friday evening or a Friday morning to lodge these large sums of money,
yeah.
which persons may target them, right? They can do transactions by wire, cashless transactions. So
Mm,
persons who come to the store or come to whatever establishment, they pay with a card, right? Now
mm,
the owner, or the business owner, the accountant or the accounting firm or whoever, right, can just transfer that money also to the bank when employees are to be paid. You understand me? Then set the amount and the employees get them paid. So every transaction is done cashless.
mm,
So that is what the Prime Minister is talking about. It is a way to push the society forward. So if you're buying land, if you're doing a rental, if you're doing Airbnb, if you're doing what the Prime Minister is talking about is creating the framework and the infrastructure, right, to to facilitate more and more businesses, more and more services going fully online, fully cashless, so persons don't have to be wasting productive man hours. Because if you're going into for a day to do some business, you're going to pay your water bill or your light bill, or you're going to pay your taxes. And we have seen last year at the tax offices these long lines at the tax offices, right?
Mm.
We want to move where persons can stay at their desk in their lunchtime, right? And they can transact, tax paying, bill paying,
Mm.
if they have a fine, a motor vehicle fine, they can do all of that. Here, I've been here almost 10 years now in Europe. I've never, ever, ever been to a water company, a light company, insurance company. I don't know where my insurance company is. I-
Mm.
I've never been to a tax office. I've never been to any of these places. Ever. I don't need to go there because every transaction is done online, done cashless.
Mm.
So that's where the prime minister wants to go. So I can be on a bus going somewhere, and I am using my phone, and I'm transacting. I'm buying a plane ticket, right? I can pay my rent. I can do all these things while traveling on the bus, going to work or coming from work or going into the city or something. All can be done cashless and done
Mm.
on my phone, right? Um, I see Milton said the problem with cashless and is privacy. It's only Jamaican saying that, because
Mm.
when you go to um, Dubai or you go to Japan and stuff like that, right? You have to pay with your card. I don't
Mm.
understand why people having an issue. Why you don't have an issue with privacy and freedom of choice in these countries, right? There are supermarkets here that are self-serve. That there's no cashier.
Mm.
No cashier, right? So you have to pay by cash. So this argument of privacy, it is not valid. It's really not valid.
I think one of the um views and comments that people have been talking about is about that it will be controlling what you can do with cash. Sorry, with your money. It will be controlling as to where you can spend it. There's a talk about that money will be expired. There are so many different things which have been said about this, and there are many different persons been talking about it. Um, so is
You're
it
referring
that?
to the gentleman that made the video.
Well, there's so many videos, Lester. Which one? Which now I'm talking UK. UK. I'm looking at some UK perspective. Which video are you talking about? Which one? Um,
A man made a video in his car commenting on the things that you just highlighted. That
okay.
if it's totally cashless, that
Mm,
your money can have an expiration date,
yes.
expiration time, your money in the bank, and they can lock it to that you can only spend it in, say, the parish of Portland or the parish of St. Anne and stuff like that.
Mm.
All right, why them can't do that with their cash right now?
Well, it's you mean cash or the money that you have in
No,
your bank
no.
account? You
I'm
mean
saying,
not cash?
what I'm saying is that the argument is so silly
Mm,
because they can also do that with the fiat currency.
mm,
Because remember, it's just an act of parliament to say once you're going to make a purchase, you need an ID. Any purchase at all, right?
mm,
So once you're going to buy a patty, you need an ID. So if you come from Kingston, either Portland, or you're going to buy something, any type of transaction you're going to make, you have to present an ID. If the ID say Kingston, they say, well, your ID is Kingston, you cannot make a transaction in this part, you're not allowed, even with cash. So I'm
yes.
saying the argument is of no validity because they can do the same thing that they're spreading a rumor about. They can do it now with
Yes.
cash.
Yes.
They can do it now.
They
But
okay.
remember,
Let's break it down into yeah. Go on. So you're saying, listen.
the conversation about expired, right? I don't see
Mm,
how somebody could literally go on the internet and say that the banks or the government will make your money in the bank expire within a period of time.
yes.
People have banks have a thing what they call savings. So
Yes.
bank need if I have money in there all over a long
Agree.
period of time. That's how they make their money. So why would they
Mm,
put an expiration date on your money who you put in the bank?
yeah.
That makes the conversation not lining up in terms of an intelligent presentation.
Yes. Yes. I just persons on in TikTok is saying these have been happening long time. So what is different now? Explain that. And they say, oh, you can do it. The issue most Jamaican has is if the option of cash will be removed totally. That is something that many people are looking at, Lester. Will the option of cash be removed totally? But before you go there, um, so in one of the definition, what is a cashless society and how does it work? A cashless society is one in which cash, in the form of physical banknotes and coins, is not accepted in any financial transaction. Instead, people and business transfer money to one another digitally via credit or debit card, electric money transfers, cryptocurrency, or online and mobile payment service such as PayPal and Apple Pay. Although no existing society is cashless, many economists believe that customer preference, competitive pressure on business, profit seeking by banks, and government policies designed to facilitate cashless transactions will soon lead to at least a few cashless societies. So, what they're saying about that, there's an end result that we may have cashless society in some respect, and that is what maybe people are fearing, that they won't be able to have this power of able to use their money and not everybody know what go on, evading tax, all those sort of things. um yeah, I just put that one up there. Yeah.
Okay, I understand. I understand the sentiment.
Mm,
I am saying I don't understand why it is a sentiment.
mm,
Because I'm saying the answer is already in what the question, what the persons are saying that they,
mm.
they, they are having a fear about, right? I think it is Denmark or Sweden, I'm not sure, where most of their transaction is cashless,
Yeah.
right? And most of the Scandinavian countries, Finland and Norway and these places, right? They don't use a lot of fiat cash. When I say fiat, I mean a lot of people may not know what the paper money, right?
Mm,
Um, Now let me say this: the government, we don't make money at Jamaica. Jamaica
yeah.
money is made in the UK, I think, right? I think it's made in the UK,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
Um,
Go
w-
on,
w-
Lester.
we wouldn't. When's the country, the taxpayers.
Mm,
So the government of Jamaica, via the taxpayers' money, would not spend millions of dollars, probably billions of dollars, to introduce a new currency just to phase it out same time.
yeah.
It's not the conversation is not, there's no validity to the
Mm,
conversation, because to make money costs a whole lot of money, because there have to be security features, right?
yes.
And you have to, and the size of the banknotes have to fit to the machines. It have
Yeah.
to fit. So it is a lot of technicality to making money, right? Also, they have to prepare money, make money with features that blind people can
Yeah.
use these money also.
All right, let's stop for a second. O'Neill is gonna come in, and I'm gonna play something from one of the news network in the UK. I just gonna risk this one, and if anything, I'll see how it goes. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna share this screen and just play this until O'Neill comes in. Um, so what I do is share this screen, and we listen to this guy. It's about 3 4 minutes there. Mark Dolan, and he's coming from a perspective. Here we go.
A number of branches of Starbucks are to go cashless in the months ahead. It's been revealed that a number of branches of Starbucks are to go cashless in the months ahead. It seems to be a policy linked to their franchise partners, and certainly not a majority of their stores. Many people will welcome the news. It may speed up service at the counter so that you can get your hands on that first latte of the day all the more quickly. And personally, I love paying with my phone or contactless, but only where cash is an option too. But this promise of a more convenient experience via cashless payments only is fool's gold. It's time to wake up and smell the coffee. Although Starbucks stress they have no plans to go cashless across all of their stores, this kind of move reflects a wider campaign at government and corporate level to kill cash altogether. As we saw with creeping COVID measures, do you remember when wearing a mask or vaccination was just a gentle suggestion, but became an instruction? Well, I think we'll see much of the same with how we pay for goods and services. As with the pandemic measures, the push for a cashless society is an attack on people power. If you have cash, your spending habits cannot be traced, your funds cannot be frozen in the way that they can with a digital currency. Don't forget, tin pot dictator Justin Trudeau, Canada's tyrannical premier, froze the bank accounts of truckers protesting vaccine mandates. He couldn't have done that with cash. In terms of a cashless society, all roads lead to China. It's the worst case scenario, I'll give you that, the thick end of the wedge. Chinese citizens are part of what's called a social credit system, in which people's money is controlled digitally by the government. They've got virtual money in their virtual bank account, access to which is linked to good behavior. And with facial recognition cameras everywhere, the public can lose access to their money for the most minor indiscretion. If someone is spotted littering or walking home drunk, not being up to date with their vaccines, or guilty of some other perceived crime, this fully digitized system will punish them immediately by stopping them paying for goods in a supermarket, for example, or from buying a train ticket. Welcome to hell.
There we are, which Mark Nolan is actually giving a perspective on cashless society. So therefore, it is not just very straightforward. This is views which are coming through. Lester, people are saying that you're speaking for Andrew. Just to let you know, that's on TikTok as well. You know, and just to say that persons who are on TikTok, if you come over onto the YouTube channel and you actually want to speak, and you don't have to ask who is he, you can go onto YouTube, Silburn TV, go onto YouTube, and you can actually join in, and you can actually be a part of the discussion. And then, because there's no one, should I say, I wouldn't say Lester is. Lester, are you a key digital expert? I'm asking the question. You know,
Call it, sir.
Okay, there you go. Is a key digital expert as well. Hi, Daniel. How are you doing? Let me see. O'Neill, are you there? Let me see. O'Neill, you're driving. Yes,
Yeah,
you're hearing you. How you doing? I think you're driving. Yes.
Yeah, I'm driving. That's why I'm not on camera. But I can
Yes,
hear.
that's no problem. Actually, I was driving earlier and I was on TikTok, but my phone was secured, and TikTok said, "Be careful of your health." Tell me, what's your take on cashless society? Because you're into digital, that's your key profession at the same time, O'Neill.
So I think it's an eventuality, right, where we're going to become a cashless society. I'll just use myself as a personal antidote. I don't carry cash. I probably, and I think I mentioned to you, I needed to pay the valet, I think it was yesterday, and I had to walk to a bank to get money. So I think it's eventuality that we're going to become a cashless society. And I listened to the gentleman Nolan. That's one perspective to
That's a perspective.
use China as an antidote to sort of say, hey, the government is going to control the cash, and therefore they could turn it on and off. There's some privacy concerns, but I think in the West we have much more checks and balance on our government than, say, in China. So I wouldn't go there and use China as an example. But I could use the U.S. as an example, where there are establishments that actually don't take cash. You'll see the sign that actually when you walk in, we don't take cash. And either you pay with your credit card, your Apple Pay, your Google Pay, etc. So eventually, we're going to get there. look at Jamaica as we're having this discussion, and I think you and I talked about it.
Yeah.
To me, Jamaica is going to get there, but there's a stage or a phase because the infrastructure is just not there. What I mean by that, I was just in Jamaica. I was in the airport, and I was trying to buy some things. The infrastructure on the telecom services that is needed, the guy had to hold the credit card machine in the air so he could get better signal, right? There's also the infrastructure, you talk about the ICI, all of the workers who currently are cash system. The government has to put the infrastructure in place to be able to allow these ICI vendors, for example, to be able to leverage some of these technologies like payment terminals, etc. I think there's a lot of hysteria around it, and I do believe, Silburn, the reason being it was not explained properly, right? It's not that when you become digital or you become cashless society, it just means that the majority methods of payment is through digital means. We're seeing that. I am bet if someone look at the data in Jamaica and compare 10 years ago in terms of credit card transaction to where we are today, it has increased dramatically, right? And I think that's one of the reasons, for example, you don't see pennies in circulation anymore, right? Because guess what? Most people don't use pennies anymore, right? So I believe when it comes to Jamaica, it's an eventual digital transformation. If we want to be part of the digital ecosystem and do commerce in that way, we're going to have to get with get with the future of what it's going to look like. I do believe there's a lot of opportunities where, for example, you take these ICI workers, ICI vendors, sorry. You know, I was in Falmouth Market. They all have cash. Imagine all those ICI workers going home with a ton of cash. Now they're vulnerable to folks who come in and steal their money, etc., etc. So I think it's going to happen in Jamaica. I think the government needs to explain what it means and don't use the term of, hey, you won't have access to your cash anymore, because you will. In the U.S., I could still go to ATM machine and get my cash. So I'm not worried about that. I think the infrastructure has to be there. The digital backbone has to be there, because the other thing in Jamaica, which a lot of people who are Jamaican will know this, you go into rural communities, guess what you have? You have these shops. A lot of these shops are cash society. And if you go any one of these, you might have 15, 20, 30 what we call shops. So how do you ensure the digital backbone is in there to support? Because I think there's a benefit for us to be able to have money deposit at the point of sales rather than you get all the money together and then you walk into the bank. I think eventually we're going to get there, but I just think the government needs to explain it better and help the citizens of Jamaica understand what that means for them. And I don't think they've done a good job yet in explaining what that means to the average Jamaican person.
It seems like there's a lot of what should I say, miscommunication or misunderstanding from the government side in many different respects. There's miscommunication in a sense with the Republic. There's miscommunication or misunderstanding with the salaries. There's misunderstanding even with this whole thing regarding cashless. And it seems to me that communication could be a big factor. Let's say what you say about communication. Let's look at the whole aspect of communication to the people. Take the people with you. I always use it. Take the people with you, like that song in Harry Tubman. Take the people with you. Is the government taking the people with them? From your perspective, not saying you're speaking for the government.
Before I answer that part, let me quickly address something. One thing what O'Neill said.
Yeah.
O'Neill keep and I know it's just a point of reference in terms of the vendors, you know, the ICI vendors. And I don't know how much O'Neill know about this, but when you look at the overall changes in Jamaica, we have a lot of persons now who are selling things on Instagram or on TikTok right? And a lot of vendors also are utilizing technology more to advertise their products and to sell their products, and farmers are doing that also. And all these transactions are done by cashless. So girls who are selling clothes and hair and stuff like that, and even guys who are selling stuff like that, Nike shoes and stuff like that. All these things are even food. All these things are done over the internet, cashless in Jamaica. Yes, Jamaica need a better infrastructure. The Prime Minister spoke about that we have to
So
improve.
Lester, sorry. My point is, irregardless, yes, there are
Is that Anil? Can you hear Anil? He's
He's
gone.
in a bad, he's in a bad spot.
He's in a bad spot. But he's
Yeah.
not using. I don't think he's using flow anyhow still.
No,
right?
maybe we're on the
What I'm
credit.
saying,
Credit.
for you
Yeah.
to be ubiquitous, you need to have the digital backbone. That's the point I'm trying to make.
No, O'Neill. I wasn't disagreeing with you, no, O'Neill. I was agreeing with you, but what I'm saying is that the whole vendors and ICIs have broadened so much, and a lot of people who are also vendors in other ways, not just food, that is the market space, but in other areas they are utilizing cashless system, cashless transactions in Jamaica. But you're right, the infrastructure need to be broadened wholeheartedly. I agree with that. And it is a safer way in terms of doing business with large institutions or large sums of money than to be walking with this duffel bag of money or a scanner bag full of money going to the bank. We are seeing where the target Chinese, they would hit the Chinese vehicle, and the Chinese stop and they rob the Chinese because they know that Chinese have large sums of cash on them. So the point I'm saying is that you do have vendors who are utilizing the system, but I have seen in Jamaica where people have these wads of cash with them. And for me, living in Europe, we don't walk around with wads of cash like that. It's just not handy. But to the government, I have communicated this with persons who are in charge of communication and information. That the method which I see them using, they use a lot of Twitter. So they will get the information out there, but they use a particular platform of Twitter, or they would use a particular radio station. You know, I've seen where the minister now has been going more on TikTok and joining lives, and doing live on TikTok and stuff like that, trying to explain the situation. I think communication on the government part needs to have a multi-phase, multifaceted approach where at a simultaneously on several platforms, the information need to go out there so a wide array of people can get it in a quicker time than being on one platform. That's why a lot of people are missing the information, because the information is being presented, but it's not everybody's going to tune in to Brogad TikTok or in Instagram or in Facebook. I mean, Michelle
Yeah.
Clark now go up on Brogad page, right? So but we need to have multi faceted platforms
Yeah.
where the information is going out at the same time, so a wider array of people can get the
Okay.
information.
Okay. Some of the views coming in, especially from TikTok. I'm just gonna bring in Lisette in the meantime. But some of the
So I
views
want to
coming in.
make
Yeah. Go
so
on, Anil. Yeah.
I want to make a quick point. The other thing that I believe that is this will help. There's a huge unbanked uh, community in Jamaica. And what I mean by that, these are folks that has no contact with any banking institution.
True.
And now, if you need a loan, if you need anything, you need to be able to prove that you have a bank account. I know of a story where a gentleman house burnt down. He had over 10 million Jamaican dollars in his house, cash, right? So there's a huge unbanked, and I think it's a huge opportunity, right? That having access to banking is important, because the society that we're going to live in is one that you're going to have to be able to trade, not only in Jamaica. Imagine how this open up where if you're a farmer, to Lester Point, you could go sell stuff to whomever. right? So I think that's where I think our society is going to head. I just want to make that point.
Yeah. Um, um, some people are talking about, like, we see what happened with the Canadian truckers. Some are saying the age of information, and we have information that we can use to make informed decisions. There are a lot of unbanked, as you said, Anila, a while ago, banked Jamaicans, and the PM didn't expect the kickback and resistance. Some are saying that let's look at this point here. Jamaica will be moving towards swiftly a cashless society. Many people are holding on to that term, a cashless society, swiftly moving on. And then Mark Golding came in and said, got to be careful, let's exercise some caution and way. But I did hear the Prime Minister said that there are a lot of Jamaicans who do not are in that system. They're using cash. Cashless does it mean, I think we mentioned it before, but let's deal with this particularly. Cashless, does it mean to say eventually there'll be no cash?
I don't believe so. The infrastructure is just not there, and we're different than China. One of the things a lot of folks don't realize with China, China didn't adopt credit card like the West did, which means it was easier for them to move millions of people to a digital sort of backbone and cashless society because they just didn't have that infrastructure in place. In the West, we have credit cards, right? We have to realize that Visa, MasterCard, all those folks will be involved in this whole process. And there's a lot of people already have credit cards and they're using these credit card infrastructure. But I do believe, Sir Brown, that eventually we all gonna get there. I think what it boils down to is messaging. I don't believe the message was done correctly, and I think that's something the government could work on. I think if they work on the message, not just by themselves, they need to get the opposition and also the church leaders involved in explaining what all of this means. And I think if we get there, people always use Canada and other places. Today, someone could freeze your bank account, right? If you walk in the bank, someone could still freeze your bank account. You could make the argument that you could put it under your mattress, sure, right? But I don't believe it's going to be a cashless society. It just means majority of the transactions are going to be digital. That's what I think it means.
Can I just ask, Lisette, are you there? Your perspective? If you unmute yourself.
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I am listening to O'Neill and I am agreeing with most things. The whole point of communication is to have someone understanding what is being said, the message. What is the message saying? And the communication is with understanding the message and that the person who sent it recognizes that it's delivered. I don't think that the message was delivered properly because everybody has different levels of understanding based on experiences. Now, from a long time, transactions have been digitized. Credit card was not a 21st century thing, but before there were, I think I signed on to Scotiabank to do the online banking in 2006 before I went overseas and worked for a while. So what I'm trying to say is this. If you throw terms and you leave gaps for interpretation, that is where you're going to have a problem. And what has happened, the scaremongers have used the gap in the communication to create the opportunity of misinforming people. I have been operating from 2008 from my decks in a high school where I used to work, I have paid my bills. Most of my bills were paid at my desk. I used to watch and see all my colleagues used to have to run down the road and take taxi or drive and thing. And the whole thing about it, they didn't know, they couldn't understand why I have not joined the lines or rubbing up and down with people. That was because I have taken a digital approach to paying my bills. The fear mongering at that time, 2008, was that, oh, they're going to rob you, they're going to this, they're going to steal you, is it safe and whatever. I I've had several instances, but those matters have been addressed. But the majority of time, I am so comfortable in making my purchases, paying my bills, paying my school fee right at my desk or in my bed or in my bathroom.
Mm.
I think what I'm trying to say is this, and I'm agreeing with O'Neill in that there needs to be, I don't know if the word unilateral is the right thing, but
Yes.
I do agree that different parties should come in, and I'm not talking about political parties, different units that represent people, senior citizens, youth, youth persons, middle-aged persons, those who are in the country to understand what it means to have digital transactions or to be digitized. I hear people talking about this whole thing about Nigeria, and it's really and truly not true. Nigeria has just simply made conversion. They still have their monies. If you go on the central bank website, you'll see that they still use cash. They're still using cash.
Mm.
So this whole thing about, oh, look at Nigeria burning up money. No, it's a QAnon people coming up with their propaganda and trying to scare people into a kind of resistance where they don't want persons to go digital. I find it easier, it's more convenient. But what happened? Just like with the TRN, when the TRN came in. I don't know where you were, Sidiel, when the TRN came into Jamaica, and it was one piece of thing in the churches. Say it's a mark
Mm.
of the beast, and everything is a mark of the beast. That is in the mid 90s. I think that was where the scare them things start. And the tax office of Jamaica had to go on an education campaign to educate every single person. I remember when they came to Brownstown and they did the demonstration in the library, the
Mm.
different church groups, the different community groups, the different organizations. They had to go out and preach to the people, said, no, this is not the mark of the beast. Just like when you go to the USA, you get your social security number. It's
Mm.
basically a similar system. Once they got that, you hear anybody talk about mark of beast with the tearing anymore, Celia?
Mm-mm. No, no.
Nothing like that. So I agree. It has to be an education campaign. It has to be a sensitization, but also if you're going to replace something, you need, just like what Gaza said, an infrastructural improvement that would facilitate all that they want. You have to put in the different things so that if I go to the market and I have a digital wallet, and the next person who is selling me Aki has a digital wallet, I can make the exchange. But if that person who is in the vending stall doesn't know, then that thing cannot happen. So therefore, there has to be some sort of a sensitization with the vendors, the small vendors, the
Yeah.
medium-sized vendors to say, this is how we're going to do it. Let us give us your phone. We'll put
Yeah.
it on for you. This is the
Yeah.
amount of money we're going to credit you $300. And they have the simulation exercise as to how the transaction can be done.
Yeah. I'm gonna put you on pause for a second there. O'Neill, I know you're driving there.
Yeah.
Uh
So the interesting thing, so Brian, as the
mm.
young lady was talking, it brought something in my head. The question is, where are the financial institutions? Right? The financial institutions are the ones who are going to put this in place. I haven't heard anything from the banks, from the credit unions. Where the leaders are those folks who come out and say, hey, here's what this means, right? The government is not the ones that own the banks in Jamaica. They're privately owned. I haven't seen any one of the heads or CEOs come out to explain this, and maybe that's the gap. But the other thing, as the young lady was talking as well, Silver, it comes down to trust in government.
Mm.
And I think it would have benefited the Prime Minister to have the CEOs of the banks next to him when he's making the statement, and have a couple of them address the nation in terms of what this means, right? Because the Prime Minister is
Anil, Prime Minister. Gaza, you go talk in there in a second. While
Yeah,
Anil come back.
O'Neill has a point,
Yeah.
but it should have to be. I don't know if the Prime Minister can, I mean, command the CEOs of banks to, to do this. One of the things we must recognize is that the banks operate a large part of their businesses cashless for years now. Loan payment, bill payment, and also salary payment. But
hello, hearing me?
yeah, go ahead, O'Neill.
No. I just said I just think there was a lack of opportunity there, Lester, to have the private sector as part of the conversation.
Based on what I know and I heard also, and you see, O'Neill, what happens a lot of time is that the Prime Minister will do a presentation for like 45 minutes,
Mm.
and persons, and the media would take 2 minutes out of a 45 minutes conversation and put it out there and edit it. We have seen where the Prime Minister's speech has been edited before,
Yeah.
and what he said in the video, that's not what was the full sentiment of what he said. You know,
Yeah.
so sometimes we have to be careful of what is presented to us, and then we run with it, because a lot of people are saying that. Like I say, Michelle unfortunately said that the PM is a big liar. You know, I mean, if he miscommunicated or under communicated, let us say that. But we don't want to be, calling persons liar and these things. Because I didn't hear the Prime Minister
A
say
lot of people, here are actually, it's not just Michelle only,
no.
and I think that's one of the, as I said, the whole miscommunication or whatever like that. Many
Yeah,
people are saying is a lie. Somebody
yeah,
even here
yeah.
on
But
TikTok
but
is
but, I, but
saying,
I'm saying the
yeah,
information that they got, right?
yeah,
A lot of time it is an edited information. So you see a clip of 30 seconds or 2 minutes
yeah.
or a minute,
But let's
right? And
go
that and
on,
that's not
listen.
and that's not what the whole 45 minutes of the presentation was said.
Yeah, yeah,
So we can't just say the person is telling a lie when we don't listen to the gamma, the full length of the conversation. That's all I'm saying. So we also on our side have to be prudent in the information that we are receiving, and say, hey, the Prime Minister, I don't think go speak for 2 minutes and come off of the platform. You understand me? Let us do some, and it happens a lot of times, in our society. The most recent important one is the police lady in Hertfordshire beating a man, and people are cussing the police lady. I got the full video where the man assaulted the police lady first, and the police lady was reacting to what the man did. Right? A lot of people say, "Oh, we never see that part." It's very important that even as taxpayers, as observers, they say the Prime Minister could not have a speech with 2 minutes or 3 minutes. There must be a longer version.
yeah.
Let us
It's
try
in,
to see if we can get a
yeah,
longer version.
yeah. Let's
So,
somebody want to come in. Let somebody come in from TikTok here. I can get them to say
so,
something. And plus, people are
Silver,
saying it is on the GI's full page. Go on, Anil, and then I bring in.
so, I think the other piece, a matter of such importance, right? I don't believe the Prime Minister should have used that 45 minutes and mentioned it at all, because it affects so much of society. He should have used a communication method to say, I am going to address the nation on this topic. So
Yeah,
stay tuned, rather than put a bit out there that, to Lester's point, you just play a clip and all of a sudden that becomes misinformation. I think the Prime Minister um, fumbled the ball on this one from a communication perspective.
yeah. Okay, let me. Ashraf, you want to say something? Yeah, please.
Yes, what I wanted to say was that not to put tags on anyone, but I'm not hearing people who are really in the light of the average Jamaican right now. You know, the persons who are talking now are not reflective of the man in the street, the man who is not knowledgeable of what's happening and what CBDC means, and you know, he doesn't know anything at all. And the person who doesn't have a bank account, the person who doesn't have a credit card. I mean, these people don't really know this, the barefoot Jamaican, the Jamaican who, when you're talking about something, his little money going into a system doesn't even make sense. You understand? But first and foremost, the Prime Minister did not give us any clip when he spoke and said, I can almost quote him verbatim. You understand? He said, this is not quoting him verbatim, but he said, we have an intention, we are going totally cashless. And when he said that, it wasn't a couple second thing. It was two parts because I have both parts. So and I watched them. So it wasn't a couple second thing, right? Then another minister came back trying to correct it. And he was almost mild on TikTok. You understand? Then he came back over time again, trying to do damage control. But guess what? What people must understand, it's a global world, we're in globalization, and there's connectivity. Persons have platforms where they can get information from, and we're getting information. We're seeing what's happening in other countries. You understand? And too much of an authoritarian governance is happening now, and people are afraid. We have something that we can show, you know, to say, you said that to us, and many persons ran with it, and now that we know that wasn't so, right? Something that happened to 2020, 2020, back down to now, nobody's having even a conversation about that. You understand? So there's a component of trust. There's no trust.
Okay.
No trust in this person, right?
Yeah.
Our Prime Minister, our PM, walks around with an air of, I know where I'm going. I know what's going to happen. You don't know, but I know. I have to back into the UN. Because the UN say, I'm their champion boy. I have to back up to so-and-so. And we are seeing where these countries and where these people are leading to. They're calling us, they're not hiding it anymore. They're calling us useless feeders. Now, when somebody controls your money, when somebody is in control of your money, and we know, you're in England and you spoke about the components. You were saying it's Jamaican, talking about a Jamaican man who spoke something. It came from, yours came from England. Mine came from Australia too. It came from England. It came from Canada, where there are many components to this CBDC, central banking thing. There's a component of durability of your money, shelf life of your money. There is a geographical component to your, what did you call it, money? Let's call it money. Okay? There's a component to who you can spend it with. There are many components that people don't know, and it is remiss of you to try to just come on and say something, and if you are working in the background and seriously pushing all of this thing while you're only speaking on the front, but you want to as soon as the needs is ready, and because that is our connection or connectivity to the whole thing. The needs will connect everybody and everything. We can't have people controlling our money. You're cutting out the banks, and you're going into the BOJ, the central bank. And let me ask something. The bank that was the tester for the CBDC thing, but Jamaica was given used as a tester. We call it tester, right? Fine. Now the owner of that bank is liquidating all his assets in Cayman. He's gone on a 3-month leave from the bank that he has in Jamaica. He might liquidate him, sell him thing that says on the sea. They know what they are doing and what is happening.
So,
you understand me?
Yeah.
You cannot expect poor people to just give up their freedom and
yeah.
what they have, the power.
Ashraf.
What about this man in the mountains?
Yeah. So Ashraf, so what you're saying then, and I'll ask somebody to come in. What you're saying then is that there's a lot of mistrust in this whole thing at the same time, and what you're saying as that is there's an element of I'm going to say it because that's the word. There's an element of deceit at the same time.
Yes.
And you believe.
We have been through that. We have been through 2 years of that. We have been through that.
Mm.
We saw that. We lived that. But I don't know why we're not speaking about that.
Yeah.
You understand?
Let-
People are afraid to speak out, but when it comes out to taking our money, controlling our money,
Yeah.
I know the Bible is it's a Bible, you know. It's gonna happen, you know. But we're gonna we just I mean, I tell people, and I was rudely awoken the other day. Somebody said to me, why fight? Why fight? If you believe in God, why fight?
Okay.
Start.
Okay. Yeah. Anila, let's say you are here. And sorry, let me just say, Yakim, you're there, yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll come to you in a second. Anil, you're hearing. Sorry, let me just. Anil, you're hearing
Yeah,
the you heard Ashrag, yes?
Yeah, I did.
You heard, and what is coming through at the same time is an element of. This is what I'm getting, and it's somewhat similar to the World Republic debate, that people are not trusting, and people believe there's hidden agenda, and there need to be some transparency and some accountability. Someone said earlier, it is not just communication or miscommunication; it is actually a hidden. It's actually like a hidden agenda.
You can't bring it now.
I think I do understand, Silver, the anxiety, which
Yeah.
this is where the advocacy should come into play. This is where folks enacting and talking with the pastor or whomever, right? This is where I think the church coming in and explain exactly what this means, right? I think I get all of that. There's a level of anxiety that if you put your money and its control, then there are some nefarious things that might go on. I
Yeah.
keep going back, right? The account holder is between the bank and the citizen. It's not the government. The government don't own the bank in Jamaica. And I wouldn't go so far as to link what Mr. Chin is doing with this process. Let's leave that aside because I don't think the two sort of fits together, right? But I think I understand the level of anxiety, and that's why it goes back to, right, we could sit here and say there's agenda, right? I live in the U.S. I just came back from Jamaica. There's a level of folks, a man on the street, who actually, when I talk to folks in the market, some of them will welcome the fact that they could use a credit card machine or a debit card machine. Some of them actually welcome because I asked the question, right? So there's an element of education that we need to put in place, but there's also a level of privacy and ensure that there are governance that are put in the system that is going to build the trust that the young lady is talking about, right? Because in the U.S., right, there's a huge checks and balance between what the banks could do and what the government could do. For example, if the government needs to see my bank account, they have to have a warrant from a judge to see that, right? So we have to ensure as we are rolling out this digital banking system is that there proper governance. And I would say that the Jamaican people, make sure you're part of the conversation because it's going to be inevitable that we're going to become a digital society and Jamaica will be left behind if we don't get into the digital world. Yes, I acknowledge the anxiety, but there's ways for us to mitigate that as citizens of Jamaica to start having the conversation to say what are the governance structures that needs to be put in place, right? And we need to start helping to educate the man on the street of what this means to them, right? Because it's going to be inevitable because in trade and commerce, that is what the world is moving towards. And if Jamaica don't become part of the digital society, we're going to be left behind.
Yeah. What they're saying as well is that I'm going to come on to Yakim in a second. There are measures of cashlessness, and they're using Sweden. Sweden is now the closest to the cashless ideal. Cash is now used in less than 15% of transactions in that country. And the value of cash in circulation has declined significantly in the 21st century, representing about 1% of GDP. I know some people are saying shouldn't compare countries like Sweden and those like with Jamaica, but many people are saying Jamaica is being used as a testing ground and Nigeria. So I think one has to say these things. Swedish retailers and restaurants are now permitted to refuse cash payments merely by posting a sign. More than half of all Swedish bank branches no longer handle cash. To facilitate the transition to cashlessness, central banks in some countries have introduced government backed digital currencies to replace or complement banknotes and coins. In the UK, they're talking about brick coins as well. As I said earlier, where I walk in the mornings, there are two caf there. They don't do cash anymore. It's strictly digital and coins. Yakim, what do you have to say, sir? Yakim? Yakim is not there. Okay. Let's. Yeah, yeah. Are you there? Yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Can you
Can
speak
you
up?
hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Thank you, Nicholas. I was listening with great interest, and I find that I think there's a lot of misunderstanding, poor information. Going back to what the Prime Minister said,
Yes.
I've listened to the speech when it was here, and he did not say we're moving to a cashless society. Say we're moving to a digital, and people are mixing up a digital society with a cash society. A cashless society could also mean a digital society. But he was saying, if they listen to the speech, he said our banking partners as well is catching on. So the bank deal with cash, and he was saying that when you go to that person handing you money, that won't be. So what people are doing, they are being educated by some people who watched it, interpret for them, and say, oh, the Prime Minister is going cashless. That's not what he said. That's not the understanding from it. What actually happens is that people who transact business in Jamaica would know that a lot of our places in Jamaica, you want to do stuff, you have to turn up at a place and a time to do this business. These online services are not available. It's only was recently that you could pay your taxes online and your light bill and so forth. And the pandemic kind of rushed that through as well. But the problem I see with people saying that we are afraid of change.
You know what I want? I want someone to send me. There's a speech. There's a clip of some speeches, which I clearly heard the word cashless. I heard the word moving towards cashless. I know you're saying digitally said, but I heard the word cashless. Somebody's
No,
gonna look for
still burn. No,
one
he
second. Listen, let Yakim finish, and then we come in.
But the
Listen.
original, he started out talking about moving towards a digital society and to mention a cashlessness society, which I think because there was not any long conversation as to when this time they think that this he was saying in a few weeks. They thought this is going to happen in a few weeks, so people start to panic.
Okay.
Let's just call it what it is. Jamaica is one of the easiest places to start a business. Why? Because you have a lot of people who don't register to start a business. We have a lot of what you call underground economy that do not contribute to taxation. And
Okay.
some of them fear that these kind of activities will be stifled by a cashless society.
Okay.
And people are worried about that, which is rightfully so.
Yes. I think. Okay. Thank you for that, Yakim. Lester, please.
yes. He did use both words, right? My point is, we are still getting an edited video, but also we're not understanding what is being said. Now, what I'm saying is that I don't understand the outrage and the outcry because most persons who work, we have about maybe 1.5 million Jamaicans working, right?
Mm.
Most of these people who work for an institution, I can say maybe 98% of them do not get them pay in an envelope. They get them pay with a bank card. Most Jamaicans in opening a bank account for the first time in their lives is when they go to get a job and they had to open a bank account because the bank they give them the payroll is digital, right? So we have been dealing with digital for a very long time, or cashless payment from employer to employees for decades in Jamaica now, right? What the Prime Minister is talking about wholeheartedly is the digitalization of our transactions. So that, as I said earlier, there's a lot of man hours being wasted on the streets lunchtime as what Lisette said, um, and been wasted before you go to work, or you if you leave work 2 o'clock for go catch the
Yes.
bank, and stuff like that. What he wants to do is move away from that so persons can spend the time, right, being more productive. Also, when you see a bank, right, full every day, the bank is full, right, and I think that the Minister of Finance and the governor of the Bank of Jamaica has to start putting some heavier sanctions, or having more talks with these banks to be a little bit more flexible. We cannot have a bank in these times, 2023, closing at 2:30, right? I think VMBS and Jamaica National must open the latest, right? It's not productive to development and economic stimulation, right? But a lot of transactions are taking place through digitalization. A lot of people who are in a particular echelon of society, they utilize the system, but it is very, very, very unfair for persons to say that poor people and barefoot Jamaicans. You know why? Western Union has seen a rapid decline in walk-in customers because persons are utilizing digital transactions. The persons overseas know, and this has been happening. I've been here almost 10 years. This has been happening from I'm in Jamaica, where persons instead you send the money to a shop or you go to the shop, they're getting it on their bank account, or they're getting it on a specific bank card or something like that. The same poor Jamaicans who use cash a lot, them get it on them bank and then go to the ATM and draw it. So people have been utilizing this thing. It is not something new, right?
Yeah.
It is just that a clip is edited and it is made to seem something that was not said. And yes, I think that even if something like that came out, there should be an emphasis from the Prime Minister's office. There should be an emphasis, right, from the government to ensure that the right message is being put out. And this is the problem. There is no great emphasis on the part of the government to say, hey, this is what is meant, right? And sometimes you have to backtrack and say, oh, well, we misspoke, or we never spoke
Yeah.
enough, or we never tried to go down in details enough. Nothing wrong
Yes.
with saying they make a
Yeah.
mistake. Nothing wrong in
I,
that.
yeah. I want to look at something here, and O'Neill, if you see you're muted, is because I'm getting a feedback. And I'll ask everybody. Everybody, I'll ask this question: what would you say are the positives and the plus of a cashless society, very digitalized? What would you say? I've got something here, but um, what would you say are the key plus? People can write it in, and those also can actually on TikTok. You can say TikTok. Those on TikTok, feel free to actually join over in the main show, Silver and TV and YouTube. Silver and TV and YouTube. If anything, no problem. If you want to stay there, we can always bring you in as well. Oh, Gary is here as well. Gary, how are you, Gary? Are you in a cashless society in Fort Lauderdale?
Yes, I am. I'm with Gaza.
Here with Gaza. Have you used cash since you've been there?
Nope.
You have not used cash.
Yes, no.
And
Even when I'm back home, when I'm in the UK there anyway, I hardly have cash with me. Hardly.
mm,
It's a tap and go business now, isn't it?
yeah. Somebody just said, if the world is not ready, how can Jamaica be ready with so much people earning from hand to mouth? I think that's a crucial point there, because if the world is not ready, but the world is not ready, I would say the world is getting ready, isn't it? Isn't that the right thing? The world is getting ready. Jamaica is getting ready. Um, the Minister Vaz's wife, I saw a tweet, a Twitter today. She gave 100,000 to every person who were affected by the market, which was burned down in Portland. Is it Leicester?
Port Antonio, yeah, the
Port Antonio.
Mosque market,
Yeah,
and
100. Is a cash or digital? Think
Not
about
check.
that. Check, if anything.
Yeah.
But you see, that's a key point there. Cash or digital. I mean, what do you call check? Check is cash.
No,
Check is a check.
no. I mean,
Check is a
cash
check.
will
So therefore, I think about 100 persons, all of them have bank account. or they're going to cash the money.
Well, I mean, I
And they're
think that
market people, they're ICIs.
I don't think that the world is getting ready. As
Mm.
far as I'm aware, I don't know if Gaza would. Well, hi Lester. Anyway, how you doing? You all right? Good,
Mm.
I'm well.
good. I would want to say that the world is already ready to do what they need to do. You see, I really believe, Vita. All
Mm.
right, I really believe, I really believe Silborn and Lester. I really believe that the powers that be, they are already there. They know exactly what they want to do and what they want to bring. It's we who need to catch up with them. So whether we are ready or not, they have a particular day, time, year that they want to put things in effect. The system, as far as I can think, and as I don't know if anybody there would agree with me, but I think the system is already set up. This thing
Yeah.
regarding Bitcoin, Silborn, or the digital currency.
Yeah.
Again, I believe that has always been there in the background.
Yes.
That what we are what we are hearing, what we are feeling, what we are um, e- um, seeing at the moment is just what they want to drip feed us.
Yes.
So when it does come into effect on the day and the time that they have in mind, it will happen.
Yeah.
But the world is ready. The systems are there.
So you're saying the world is ready. Okay. Let Liz you want to say something. Again, unmute yourself. Yeah.
Silver, hold on. I said
But,
just a
but
second. A bit of a breaking news. There's
okay.
currently a JCF and military operation happening now in Spot Valley, Barretown in St. James, where a high value target is being cornered by the security forces, and they're coming under heavy gunfire from criminal elements trying to protect that high value target. So there's a big firefight going on in Spot Valley, Barretown right now in St. James. Just to let the
Well,
viewers know that.
when you say a high value target, you're talking about a person or something like is
Yes, is a top criminal,
yeah.
the top wanted person that they want, and they've cornered them now in Spot Valley.
All
So
right.
I just received a communique from one of my link them in the JCF.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. It's interesting because at one point, at a section in the whole bit regarding cashless society, they said proponents of cashless society argue that digital transactions will reduce criminal activities. But let me leave that for now and come back to it. Lisette, please. Thank you for that, Lester.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you
Yes,
clearly. Yeah.
yes.
Okay, good. I had to move to a headset. All
Yes.
right. Going back to infrastructure. Jamaica has a potential. I'm being the optimist here. Jamaica has a potential of making that transition because almost every other person or every person has some form of digital transaction, right? The agencies that are offering the service, they took a long time to get there, but they are getting there. Case in point, NHT. Now when you sign up with NHT, you can see what your points are. You can what you call it now. You can get some cash refund if you qualify, but you can also use the medium to pay your loans, pay for your loans. That's one.
Mm.
But in another thing about infrastructure, someone made mention of the ordinary persons wanting or possibly possessing point of sale machines. The opportunities are there for ordinary persons to have, but the requirements seems to differ between banks. Sagicor has one thing, one set of things, one set of requirements different than what is it again?
NCB.
Oh, NCB different
Mm.
than Scotiabank. Because I think one organization wants persons to do transaction using US dollar, and that is a friend that I have in the craft market in the grill. They have made it so difficult for a set of persons to have. All right, coming back now to the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance. If you
Mm.
listen to how they speak, they're not very good in articulating to the masses. To me, they're articulating to a set of persons, not intentional,
Mm.
but it comes across as arrogant for many. And I think they need to concede that they're not communicating clearly and that they need to have someone who has the capability and the understanding of the masses, the demographics of who they're dealing with, and make it simple. Maybe they can have three broadcasts recorded and seeing that they have JIS and JIS is running very regularly now, they could use that medium as well as any other medium on their website.
Yeah.
I'm just saying how they speak, it is, I would understand it, but the next person only see something and you
Yeah.
see the miss. Hold on.
Yeah.
If there's a cut, there's a clip from Delroy Truck.
Mm.
I'm going to search and see if I can find it where he gave an example of a cashless society. So it's not
Yeah.
that it wasn't said, but it's the interpretation of what is being said.
Yeah. So therefore, if we are saying that there was a misinterpretation and it is now clear, is it now clear, ladies and gentlemen, that what the Prime Minister meant is that we are aiming towards a cashless society? We are not there. We are working on the different areas. People who are not actually in the banking system. It's just like when what do you call it? What's the TRN thing? And NITs, NITs. They're trying to get NITs up
Yeah,
in line and everything like that.
yeah.
Mhm.
Vita Gailey said we're already there. Many people are saying we're already there. Okay, it was a misunderstanding. It is clear because when President Biden makes some statement, the Speaker of the House, his his PR lady always come out and explain it at the press conference. But I think the Prime Minister is coming out and trying to explain a lot of these things when he's not maybe the expert on it. He should let other people explain it. He's coming out and explaining everything. Lester,
He's
isn't it?
coming
I,
up
I
with the
am I am I
defensive.
am I am glad I am glad that what Lisette expressed
Yeah,
just now, because the Minister of Information is listening, and
yeah,
he has heard that. But let me say something. And I think some of your viewers, especially on TikTok and IG, maybe a little bit, maybe get a little bit annoyed about what I'm about to say. The outrage that people are having is a fake outrage, right? Many
are you calling the people
institutions,
are fake?
yes, many institutions in Jamaica, right,
Mm.
cannot fully staff their businesses right now because so many Jamaicans who have qualifications and so many Jamaicans who have little qualifications, so many Jamaicans who have no qualifications are working online. Persons are doing business on TikTok, on YouTube. People are becoming YouTubers. People are doing Instagram influencers. People are earning huge money on social media. They don't have to go to a 9 to 5, a brick and mortar place, right? How do these people get their income? It is not the US that post it in our letter, right? So a vast majority of persons, especially in the advent of TikTok, where a lot more people can earn quickly, right? Earn readily, earn easier. These barefoot Jamaicans, these low level people that they're talking about, and I don't know which Jamaicans are low level. These are the words of the viewers, right? But but Jamaicans,
Hold on, Lester. Somebody just responded. Saying nobody in Jamaica is low level. What you talking about?
no, no, person, per, no, I'm not saying. Listen, say that
Uh,
I'm saying
one second, Ashra. Uh, Ashra, one second.
no,
Let's
no,
finish and then we'll come to you. Sorry.
persons keep talking about a person in a particular demographic, right? That build up a social life. And I'm saying these people we are talking about, right? These people that the diaspora and certain persons in Jamaica keep wanting to protect. these persons are the ones who are mostly on TikTok and Instagram earning money, and they earn it digitally. So this outrage that people have for other people, right? It is fake, because these people, and I'm interacting with these people. These people are teaching me and showing me how they make money on Instagram. I see a girl recently on TikTok. Two girls were dancing, just dancing, and the girls made over 3,000 US dollars each in about 15-20 minutes, based on people by coins or give them lion and all kind of stuff like that,
And they
right?
get their
And
cash.
All right.
They get their cash at the end of that. At the end of that,
I said the transaction is digital.
Mm.
it's been that way for a while. YouTube has been that way for a while. So what we're asking, why can't we have both of them being balanced? Why? And let me ask you something. So it is fair mongering when Texas and Florida decide that we're not going to be a part of the CBDC thing. That is fair mongering. Is that fear mongering?
You're talking about United States. We're talking about Jamaica.
Yeah, but
How,
people,
how,
people.
how that relate? No, you have to give me. Hold on. You have to hold on.
One second, Hash.
Hold on.
1 second, Hash.
If you're going to speak about the central banking system in the United States, please give me some type of evidence and linkage to the similar thing happening in Jamaica with our central bank. You can't just throw something out there like that without evidence and without a linkage to what is happening.
You threw out there that our emotions were fake, our fears were fake. You throw that out there, but I can't tell you something that is publicized, that is known, that the CBDC has been refuted by at least 2 states in the Americas. Okay,
how it linked to Jamaica?
Very new states. So is Florida, and they have refuted and said no, we want nothing to do with that. You understand? No, I don't get it where you can go and you talk about Europe, you talk about whatever and where you're living now and all the years. And no, I can't make that reference there. Literally, I just did. And you need to answer, is that fear mongering when DeSantis and the Texas governor decide that we're not going there? They know why they're not going there. They know why they're not going there.
All right.
Let me answer. Can I answer her?
Yeah, you answer her and then I go to Mark and say hi to Mark. Thank you for that, Hasrag. Yes.
I am saying whatever reference I made to Europe, right? I made a linkage to Jamaica. What's happening? Similar thing in Jamaica. Can you show me the linkage of what's happening in Florida and Texas to Jamaica? The linkage to Jamaica, if that is happening there.
The people.
No, I'm talking about the central bank.
No, wait. It's the people. Yeah.
You asked for an answer. You asked an answer, and you don't give the answer. Whereas we have a compliant government, we have a people who are being resistant to something because we have, what hurts? This is on the heels of something that took 2 years. Took away our freedom for 2 years. It's on the heels of that, okay? And we saw what happened with the government as far as that was concerned. We saw how that went down, and we are still hurting. Right? People not talking, but we're still hurting. Okay, fine. Now I can make reference because I know I am on platforms. I'm out in the streets. I am talking. I'm in groups, and the people are resistant, like DeSantis and the governor and so. So yeah, the people. We.
I think one of the key thing, Lester, is that the perception and the people feeling it and hurting is something which cannot be snuffed at, even though one may say certain things are fake. But let me just leave that for now. Thank you for that, Lester. Mark, how are you? Mark? Mr. Cameron?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm just absorbing the misinformation.
1 second, trending.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, Mark, go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, Mark.
No, I said I'm listening to the misinformation. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. I can
Hello?
hear you. We can hear you. Yes, Mark, I
Can
can
you
hear
hear?
you. We can hear you.
No, I said for the last few weeks, I've been listening to the misinformation and the credible information from different sides of the world. Now, it all boils down to freedom of choice. I get money a lot of times that the transactions are done through the internet. I don't see the money in my hand, but I see it in my bank. Now, it's really about giving people the freedom to choose. You cannot impose things on people that are not workable in the environment in which they survive. And we have a lot of people, Jamaicans, when information comes out, we project the worst case scenario first. What's the worst thing that can happen if you have that type of banking where there's no cash involved? That's what we project first, but we're not looking at the fact that it exists today. It exists right now.
The cashless system.
It exists.
Yeah, as
They
Vita
can
said.
both
Yeah.
work. They can both work in the context of the transaction. You also have, right now people are trading goods and services in a barter system that has been happening from day one with different scenarios in how you can recoup your investment or whatever, or have a transaction. They always make a big fuss they need for and be honest about what to do, and don't give them a lot of misinformation. I'm sick and tired of that, and the Jamaican people are tired of that. We need people that are trustworthy, that are doing things in the best interest of our country and not for their own diabolical reasons. That is the problem we have in our country right now on all aspects, from the vaccine all the way down. Them are lie out in teeth and now give the people the truth. And that's the problem. They don't give people the freedom of choice. Every man is sovereign. If you want to take the vaccine, you take the vaccine. If you don't want to take it, go about your business and suffer the consequences. If you think there's consequences. If you want to go cashless, go cashless. If you don't want to, don't. Leave people alone.
So what you're saying, Mark, is there's a bullying mentality. It's like forcing people, controlling people, and not allowing people to feel free.
It's all about control, brethren. We see it in every aspect of our life. And they lie about it too. They're bringing a lot of lies. And I'm talking about on both sides. Because there's merit to a cashless type of transaction. There's merit to it. There's safety concerns. But there's also concerns about manipulation by the powers that be. Which is why it's important that we have a government in place that is for the people, by the people, so they're not going to circumvent their will. It's important to have trustworthy people on your side. If you don't, there'll always be suspicions about what they're doing. Because you don't trust them. There's a lack of trust and no integrity.
So it is very clear what we're talking about is the trust factor, which is coming through a lot. Mark, thanks for that, Mark. Let me just bring in trending. Let me just bring in trending for a second. Hi, trendings. Good evening. Good.
First of all, the CBDC is equal to slavery 2.0 because the government is going to have every access to your cash. I mean, to your financial account. And whenever you spend, and they don't want you to spend on such items like real food, they will say you can't spend, you exceed your limit there, and you have to move on to something else. And in the sense of
Go on, I'm listening.
Gasoline,
Go ahead.
if you want to buy gas, they could block you and said you exceeded the amount of gas or your amount of drive time. So CBDC is really about controlling you 100%. It's the second phase of the pandemic. This is the second phase of the pandemic.
Thank you.
And Florida and Texas won't join the U.S. federal government in this, and they might break away because there's a bill in the Texas House to remove the U.S. the Florida Texas from the United States of America, the corporation. So CBDC. It's no fun.
Okay, Sil,
Okay, 1 second, 1 second, Ashra. Gary, go ahead, Gary. Yeah.
I'd want to say that I agree to some extent with what Mark has said, but that can be replicated to a lesser or to a more degree when it comes to the rest of the world in any society. That there is always going to be a degree of control there, but allowing people to make their choices. But I just want to bring this to the fore, yeah, that when you look at all the crises that's been happening in the world today, and as somebody said just now about the pandemic that has brought, has enhanced or brought a degree of control forward. I would go even further by saying with the amount of financial crashes that has happened in the United States, in the United Kingdom, and even with the difficulties in Jamaica. Now you could even talk about all the other areas of the world. But if you notice, these institutions and governments are bringing in controls little by little. They are bringing in their controls. It's not a 1 day thing. It's not even a 2 day thing. It's only because when the financial markets crash, they're bringing in controls that it shouldn't happen, or it shouldn't happen next time. But at the same time, folks, I also believe that these financial crashes and pandemics and everything else that you want to
Yeah.
bring
All
into
right.
the fore,
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
is they have.
Yeah.
I can't hear what she's saying because
No,
she's
no,
very
no,
low.
no. Yeah, yeah. I'm just have to mute you guys on TikTok for a second. Just one at a time.
Yeah.
Gary, go ahead, Gary. Yeah. Yeah.
But what I'm
Please.
saying, still, is that again in support, I believe, of what Mark has said, because I do agree with what Mark is saying. In essence, I really believe that these things are planned. They want to bring in controls. They want to bring in certain things into society.
Yeah.
They want to control people's lives. Then what do? They
All right.
create the atmosphere in order to bring in the measures in order to control societies, governments, and countries.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you.
Listen to this. Listen to this for a second. Listen to this for a second. 1 second. Listen to this.
Payments and carefree spending, but could tapping our cards get us more than we bargained for? Joining us to investigate this very question is Brett Scott. He's a former derivatives broker. He worked during the 2008 crash, and he has something to say about this, and an author of a book called Cloud Money. He is joining us live from Berlin. Hi, Brett.
Hey, good to be here.
When we talk about digital money, what do we mean by a cashless society? And is there anywhere in the world that a cashless society has been achieved already?
Sure, I think you need to separate out a few different issues here. The traditional concept of a cashless society doesn't involve a central bank digital currency. All right, so the traditional concept of a cashless society is basically where the banking sector, the private banking sector, the likes of Barclays, HSBC, Santander, etc., control the monetary system. So, for example, you mentioned the rise of so-called cashless transactions in the UK. Those are basically bank transfers between commercial banks, right? This is not a central bank thing. It's a commercial bank thing. The debate recently has been somewhat altered by the fact that central banks have been starting to dabble in the idea that they too might enter the fray of digital currencies. But that remains a hypothetical and currently non-existent situation, other than a few pilot projects around the world.
How has the pandemic factored into this drive towards the cashless?
Well, the pandemic definitely accelerated a lot of the processes that were already in play. That's the best way to think about it, right? And bear in mind, actually, no, there weren't any central authorities that came out and said, don't use cash. Actually, it was often these companies like Tesco taking it upon themselves. I remember, in the early lockdown days in the UK, you'd walk into a place like Tesco, and they'd be blaring out of their loudspeakers to everybody, please use the card system, essentially. There wasn't any scientific evidence to prove this. And in fact, scientific consensus on this was that cash didn't play a role. And the first body to push that out was the Robert Koch Institute in Germany, which is a preeminent health institute in Germany, who came out and said there's no connection between cash and COVID. And this was later confirmed by a range of other research. But in the meantime, so many of these players just went ahead and just pushed that story out. And of course, because people in general were backing away from the physical world temporarily, they sort of viewed everything that might have some physicality as being potentially dangerous. But you'll note now, if you go to many places, and I'm using London as an example quite a lot because London's become very, very anti-cash. Well, not at least the companies have become. You go to many of these places and they say, "Oh, we don't take cash," and you say, "Why?" And they say, "Oh, because of the pandemic." And yet you'll be in a pub with like 150 people like breathing over the bartenders, and they're sitting there telling me that the reason that they don't take cash is because of the pandemic, which is of course like ridiculous. So basically, what happened?
Okay, let's leave that there. I'll stop that for a second. One second. I'll stop this. Gary, is this what you're saying, Gary? Am I muted? Let me see. Am I muted? Gary? Oh, sorry. Gary, you're oh, sorry. My apologies. You guys were muted because of the Gary. Is that what you're saying, Gary?
More or less. I mean, I think he's talking quite broadly, isn't he? I mean, he's not really homing in on one particular area as such. I think he's trying to protect himself, but he's talking in broad terms.
Okay.
But again, let me go back. Let me go back to say what Mark said and how he explained. I will support him on that. In that, I think it's a matter of choice. But what governments are doing, what organizations, what systems are now doing, they are trying their best to bring everybody under a controlled factor. That's what they want to do. I mean, everybody's trying to see that for themselves, but they're trying to take away choice from the individuals.
Many people are saying they're sensing it's going to be forced. Sorry, you're on mute. They're feeling a bit forced into those. Let me just take off people off mute on TikTok.
Silborn is going to go that way. I think inevitable, even though they're very much saying now it's a matter of choice. But they tried it with the vaccine, it didn't work. Right? Not everybody took the vaccine. There were some who took it and died. There were some who didn't take it and died. So there is there is a win-win or a lose-lose situation on both sides. So they're doing things in stages. Yes, the stock market crashed in the UK some time back. They're bringing systems. Things went a bit bad in Jamaica when it comes to involving Usain Bolt. They're bringing changes. What are these changes really moving towards? They're moving it towards having controls put in place that individuals will have to accept what they're bringing in order to survive. When somebody has a child, a baby to feed, right? And they're then telling the mother, we don't want your cash. You can have as much cash as you want, right? You've got to bring it on card, or you've got to do this. What do you think the mother's going to do? What do you think the parent is going to do in those situations? They're going to choose to go cashless because people are not going to want to handle money at all.
Lester, what do you say, and then Mark, and go on to TikTok.
All right.
Let's say psychological zone. If you want to come on to the live, that'd be great. Go ahead, Lester, and don't talk too long. Let people say you mustn't talk. People mustn't talk too long. Gary, they say you talk too long. Sorry.
I hear what your TikTokers are saying, right?
Yes. People, what people are saying on the platform of TikTok. I just wanted to just say that, Lester, because sometimes it's a TikTokers. I understand where you're coming from, but I just want to put a human face to it.
So what I'm saying is this fear that people are having with the digitalization, the government controlling your money. The government already have access to it, right? And if people are making reference to the United States, right? When the feds come in for you, right? Remember Wesley Snipes? Remember all these people? They don't need to be digitalized to come for you and control you. The feds can come for you and seize the assets now, seize the cash now. Hold on, Silburn.
No, I'm not saying anything. I'm waiting
So,
for you to
so the same thing in Jamaica. If they want your money, if they want control over your money, they don't need to digitalize the whole country for them to do that because they already can do it. They already can control you. You understand me? We have seen where them shut down people's account. So this fear, I'm saying, you're
shut
fearing
down,
that
shut down the truckers account in Canada.
well, let's stick to Jamaica.
Yeah,
What I'm saying,
go on. Yeah.
what I'm saying is that this fear of people say that it may happen or it will happen. I'm saying that the wherewithal to do it is already, it has always existed, right? Because on the banknotes, right, it is it's not like a euro money, a property of the government of Jamaica,
Yeah.
right? So I'm saying to people that listen, the fear that you are projecting that will happen with the digitalization or cashless, right? The same thing we're not afraid it can happen already is in place to happen from day one.
Okay.
That's what I call it outrage fear because
Yeah.
them can take away your money same way.
Yeah. Okay. Say where you're saying. Stop there. Somebody said something on TikTok. Yes, you're saying.
Yes, sir. I wanted to respond to. Is it Lester that was speaking?
Lester speaking. Yeah.
Lester. Yeah. I don't agree with you, Lester, because you're saying what they can do, what they could possibly do with cashless society, they can do with cash. No, you can't. The information is out there. Cash is not traceable. You mean you cannot tell what I'm doing with my cash. For example, if I'm leaving the UK, I'm allowed to take 9,000 on the plane to Jamaica. So when you're saying that they can do that with cash, you can't, and that's why they want to move from cash because there's so much money. Remember when they print money and the money circulate, they can know that how much money they can't account for. So it is difficult to account for cash, and that is why digital society is being looked upon and being preferred by many societies because that's way to stop all this. Let's look at scamming in Jamaica. A lot of because they can collect the cash. They find different ways. People get in the country, it comes through the different ways. If you have no cash, if you have a cashless society, that would not be happening. But when somebody gets 10,000 Jamaican in his hand, you can't say what that money is used for, what actions or projects that were funded. If that is done through a bank or a digital wallet or whatever, those transactions are traceable. You can't trace cash like that. So that's where I think some people are getting. I think where you misunderstand that they can do the same.
I never misunderstand it. You misunderstand.
Okay, no problem. Thanks for that, Mark. Thanks for that, for your input there, Mark.
Yeah, there's another factor we need to look on. Is that in Jamaica there's an underground economy. A lot of Jamaicans don't even pay taxes, man. I'm just being real about it. We don't pay taxes. There's this underground thing going on, and there's a lot of they're very skeptical about losing that control. Once you lose that control, then the government's gonna know where you got your money from, how you spend your money, and personally speaking, I'm doing everything up and up, okay.
Yeah.
But I want to have the option of having my money under my mattress if I want that.
You want to have that? Yeah.
I want to have the option because first of all, I never like bank. To go to a bank in Jamaica is a whole day affair. If you go to a Scotia Bank in Jamaica in a Manville,
sit down around for a while.
No, you're gonna expect to spend about 2 or 3 hours in the bank to get your own money. True. I wish we could come with a new concept, you see. And this might be something that somebody can think about. Is where you have a place to store your money.
Yeah.
You store your money. In other words, you have a guard out front, or a couple guards. You don't need no teller. You go in there, you push all your money in your thing. Because you're not getting any interest on your money. There's no interest on your money. As a matter of fact, one of my bank account me have right now, if I don't do 8 transactions a month, they take out $8 or $10, something like that. If I don't do at least 8 transactions, I lose money out of my bank. So therefore, I'm not only not getting interest, but I'm losing money by not doing my transactions out with my card. If people were just forward thinking, maybe we could come with a system where you're empowered by having your own money when you want to and how you want it.
Yeah.
You just have a big Fort Knox type situation where you have a couple guard out front. You don't need no teller. You go in there, you stash your cash. When you want money, you go in there and pull out the cash. It might not be practical in large sums. But for most people who are just trying to function and pay little bills here and there, they might need it. That's all they want,
Yes.
And I'm a person that believes in personal freedoms. I don't like to be held hostage to no bank or to nobody, or to even have in my mind that a man can just cut off my money like that. I don't like that concept at all.
I think that is what is concerning a lot of people. They're feeling like they're going to be hoodwinked or they don't have the control. That's the worst.
Yeah, but you don't trust them. You can't trust them.
Mark, you're a businessman, right?
Yeah.
Is it possible if you say you lodge $5 million today, right?
Yeah.
And tomorrow you want to withdraw, you want to go to the bank, you want to withdraw $500,000. Is it possible for you to get it on the same day?
At the bank?
Yeah.
No, they generally give you at least a couple of days to get the money out. Or what they can do? What they can do is give you a manager's check.
Yeah. No, but that's not what I'm asking. I'm saying today you lodge $5 million a year, right? Tomorrow you don't even want $1 million, you want 1/10 of that, and them will tell us to wait a few days. No, what I'm saying to the viewers on the various platforms that is watching now.
Yes.
The government of Jamaica / the banking sector, the financial sector already have control of the cash itself. As the smart is because it happened to me, it happened to my wife, right? Where we lodged a certain amount of money the day before, and we want about 1/10 of the money the following day, and we couldn't get it. Our own money.
Yes.
You understand
All right. Well, listen, guys. We're on to 12 o'clock now. It's been a 2-hour marathon, and I've just told the person on TikTok that I'm going to continue over there. So we can go on TikTok. But I think what came out of all of this, and this is what been coming out a lot in a lot of these discussions with the Republic, with the salary, is something big which we call communication, getting the information, and people somewhat feeling that they're losing control, Lester, Gary. People feel a bit like they're losing control. Let me see if I can unmute you, Gary. Gary, you unmuted or you mute yourself or something like that? I don't know. I'm trying to unmute you.
That's okay.
Yeah. People feeling a bit like there's a control factor, and they don't like that. And one of the proponents of the cashless society, which has been argued, is that digital transactions are more convenient for both customers and business, and that cashlessness would cut down on many criminal activities. They also maintain that the trend toward cashlessness is unstoppable, given the increasing digitalization of economies and consumers' growing preference for conducting business daily with mobile devices. The trend has been propelled, however, by banks that have intentionally made transactions that is cash less convenient for their customer. Example by, let me see if I can mute somebody there.
Abstractor we can do.
Who is that there?
We can do a scene like that.
Muting, yeah.
What I'm gonna do is to help you. I'm gonna help you along the way. No, I don't want you to leave.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know where I was a while ago. I was saying that the trend has been propelled over by banks that have intentionally made cash transactions less convenient for their customers by closing branches and removing the ATMs. We have seen over here that every time, every minute, HSBC is closing, Barclays is closing branches, removing ATMs. I remember one era people were making noise because they removed the ATMs. To encourage the use of digital services are more profitable. And I must say, even in, and hold on, and even in supermarkets as well. Early in the morning or so, up to maybe 12 o'clock, some of them are not actually opening their tills. They're actually telling people to go to the self-serve. You know, after a while, you'll have to try computerize the whole thing. You know, so any last word, Gary?
No, I mean, I am hearing all the valid arguments of what you're saying, and I want to say that I do agree also with Lester that the governments already know what's in our accounts. We don't have to do nothing; they already know it. You know, they can manipulate your account without you knowing.
Yes.
You know, so yes. I mean, everybody has valid points. Everybody has more or less, I believe, experienced the cold hand of the digital economy. Is only that I believe it is slowly coming upon us, and before you know it, it's going to be on us, and there will be nothing that we can do about it, really.
Yes, and as what Milverton Hyde just said, the white-collar criminals will be the only ones able to steal your money eventually, sooner or later. We have seen the advent whereby the Billingham, the cash, Brink equivalent, Beryllium, they're actually robbing those things. So what happens when there's no cash? Where they're gonna go? Is that crime is gonna increase more into the white collar because no more cash is gonna be there? What do you think, Lester? Where they're gonna go? Yeah.
This was an attack on beryllium and not an attack on banking, you know, because it's 5 companies that deliver money to the ATMs, you know. And just beryllium alone, them are attack.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, listen.
No,
listen, finish. No, you have to finish. Yeah, I forget your last word.
Right.
You want me to get a green drink for you?
People.
A green drink for Lester.
I enjoy the interaction. Please don't get upset at me, right? Let me say this. The level of control that the banks have right now over us, it's not normal. A lot of people just don't know. Is it people withdraw what they already have?
Let's 1 second. I've been on it for 2 hours and I want to do the little boy thing. So you keep talking with Gary and I'll be back in a second. Okay, cheers.
All right. Yeah. So what happened is that a lot of people don't understand the amount of control. Now, Gary, if you're seen with a certain amount of money, right? Say you have like $10,000 or $20,000 and you're walking on the road and a police officer search you, right? Do you work? No. You have a business? No. You're not employed? No. But you have $10,000 or $20,000 upon you. The police have the right, you know, and they have the right of discretion. They can let you go and say, go on, but they can say to you, listen, we are going to detain you until you can prove how you come by this money because you're not working. Right? You're not working. And what I'm saying to people is that the control is already there. I understand what they're saying is that with digital, they know exactly what you bought, when you buy it. And that is true. All I'm saying is just an act of parliament now. Right? An act of parliament that they can say, listen, if you're going to purchase a sweetie, you have to produce an ID. Right? If you're going to walk around with that sweetie, you have to have the receipt of that sweetie with the same cash. It's a simple majority in the parliament. When I'm saying the fear that people have of digital is already clear and present from year one. I'm saying, so this in that. I have seen police have asked me already, right? They get paid. And people ask me, where me get so much money from? Right?
Are you the Prime Minister?
I show them that I'm working. Take out my pay slip and show them, right? And I'm saying to people that they can take away your money as is now, right? Yeah. Money is not yours. The cash is not yours. It is Bank of Jamaica, the government of Jamaica money. Is not your property.
All right. Well, let's listen. Thank you so much for that. And big up Nesta Morgan, the minister. Let's hope that he comes in. It's a pity he didn't come in and just share a perspective. We need to, we really need to get the people of Jamaica definitely want to have a very effective relationship with their government. And somehow, sometimes it is coming across as if there's a total disconnect with the government and the people of Jamaica. And they need to make it right by actually engaging with platforms that actually can bridge that gap. And I want a successful government either way. And people want a successful government. And if the government is successful, the people are successful. And they must recognize that they need to actually engage. And I've said it before, and I said it in my walk and talk motivational moment. If there is a disconnect with the government and the people, then the government is deemed to be the employee and the people are the employers. And therefore, if there's a disconnect, and if there's a disconnect, there's a moral compass which maybe has gone. And just like in the Green Mile, what they're going to call it, dead man walking, and they're just actually, it's like one teacher was saying one time, clock in, clock out, but there's nothing there. It is like a shell. And it's like in law, in court, we're talking the flesh, that the equity is a flesh that clothes the dry bone of the law. So therefore, if any government minister is listening, use these platforms, talk to the people, because one of the things I recognize when I do these things, and sometimes I'm in the UK and speaking to people in Jamaica, there's such a need. People just want to speak and want to feel free to speak and to share their views. My view is this, and it's very strong, that whenever there's censorship and there is cancellation, it weakens people and it weakens the mindset, because you're not able to stand strong and to build. And government need to listen to that as much as possible, Lester. And I'm speaking on behalf of people. Yeah.
Silburn, to be fair to Nesta today, we have been trying to work with his schedule, because he's out of the island, he's on government business, and while we were on the show, I was communicating with him, to see the best possible way that he could come on and join and give some light and interact with the taxpayers of Jamaica, interact with the person, even the diaspora, and give some clarity and answer some questions and soothe some concerns. So we were I was actively trying to get him on the show, but because of the flight and stuff like that, and going through immigration, and the timing was off, but we're going to try to get him. He spoke to me, and he really wants to come on and just be open and be transparent and feel some questions and just
that's right, and I agree as well, because I commented on one of his program and said come and talk on the show, and he messaged me privately and said he's gonna come on the show. So listen, I'm gonna run now, you guys. I'm gonna go on TikTok. I know Gary is big on TikTok, and I know Lester is big on TikTok. So I'm going over there to talk to some persons who want to have a chat as well. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming on, and we'll be back again next week. Saturday we look at actually I might be away on a man's retreat for men without my church, so I might not be around. Maybe Lester, you have to do talk and say, oh, Gary. So we just thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good day, and bless you as well. Gary, we talk, all right? Enjoy Fort Lauderdale and use some cash. Try to find some cash, even 10 pence. To say that you use cash over there. Okay? Peace out. Thank you, guys. Cheers. Bye-bye.